Welcome back to the Clay Studios oil painting tutorial. I'm Gomati Sivasankaran. We are in class 27 of the large canvas painting of Radha Krishna. Let's quickly go over what we have done so far. So this is layer 5 of the painting that we are working on. We have done layers 1, 2, 3, and 4. These layers have given us the understanding how to grow from a flat, plain colored, painting that we make. And also, even before that, the white canvas, how to turn it around into something, that could be workable in bits and pieces as well. So we did grids, and then we came on to understanding this flat, picture that we could make. And from that flat picture, we are moving on to creating those nuances, details that are helping us grow this picture into what we see right now, isn't it? So this is, this in itself is a journey. And I am so glad that you have continued with us on this journey. So let's get started with the next steps. But before that, very quickly, what have we done in the last class? We were really working on the clothing details, and we did start a little bit. The last class was something slightly different because we started for the first time with the gold color. And I did mention that if you do not have access to a golden color, maybe you will have to mix yellow ochre, a little bit of titanium white or white, flake white, and maybe a little bit of permanent yellow or lemon yellow to give that effect. So you can still achieve, so do not be boggled down into finding that gold color. We have, I got used to it because, it just serves my purpose, and I will have to make a lot of such work, given the kind of work that I am doing more and more. So I just got it, and I got hooked to it. I have also seen golden powders, gold and silver available in a powder form. I have never used that, so to speak. I don't know how it works. Maybe it should be blended with another color like a base and then added. That would be my wild guess. I've never used it. So if you have come across something, do share in your comments. What do you think? How good it is, and how does it gel well with the painting and so on. So this class also is going to be a little more on the gold. We are going to look at the jewelry part and how do we bring it out in the front. Deliberately, I have done one part of the jewelry where I have already, you see that there is a lot of detail work done. So this is going to slow us down a bit. But there is also one section that we added recently, the belt that she is wearing, Radha is wearing, and that is just gold loaded with nothing on top. So we'll see the contrast of how do we work with all such things. There is also this section where I have only added to the yellow ochre base, I have added only the white dots. So we will get to see all that and how do we work with all such things. The ornaments, and if we manage the ornaments, we'll need to come back a little bit to the clothing as well. Though it looks complete, there is a bit of finesse that we'll have to work also on that. And just to summarize what all we have left over. So the the accessories and slight finish, a little more work on the clothing, and then we go back to working on the swing. That's a lot of detail. We also have this background. Remember, I said that I don't want to do much on the background, but I might have a slight little idea on the background, not too much to go around with, and then finally the signature. So these are the areas that we will be focusing on in the coming class. The zero brush. Most of the time, you will see me using the zero brush and possibly the micro brush as well. And tissue papers will be also needed. Oils. For gold, I wouldn't use much of the oils. This color itself is totally translucent, and if I just bring it like this in front of you, you see that it is so supple, yeah? And already on the oily side. I don't want to use much of oil. Before we get started with the application of the color, what I would like to do though is to make a part of this gold, mix a little bit of white to it, not too much, a little bit of white to it, so it is on the lightened side of gold. Yeah, keep that ready. And then I will need burnt umber as usual to have a darkened side of it, or anything that's close to burnt umber. So I'm going to take a bit of burnt umber as well and have it mixed, not too much, but a little bit, because we have two variations of it. I'm going to mix that and keep it ready to the gold here. So this is the darkest version of the gold. Yeah. So it's still gold, but you see that it is blended with two different variations of colors. I think I will add a bit more gold to it so it comes around as a highlighted color. With respect to all other colors, you will see me saying, okay, take less is more. With respect to gold, it's just the opposite. I prefer. I tend to load a little more of gold onto the body of the canvas. It might look like, the color is just coming out of the canvas, the body of the canvas, when you look at it, from a flattened position. But that's exactly what I like about it. And also, remember one thing, when this gold dries, it flattens itself. So it doesn't look like the day one when you paint it, the way it looks, it changes, it shifts when you move on to look at it after a week or so. Yeah, so I'm going to add a little more. I will want to have as much as I will need for both their jewelries, and also once we are done with the jewelries, we will do a little bit of work on on their clothing as well using this. So it's good that we have this color ready. Yeah, this is it. This is the darkest version. The lighter version can be a little more. It's taking too much of the color, but it does. And it feels like it's a one-time use, so I'm also okay with it. So you see that this is slightly lighter and this is slightly darker, and this is exactly the consistency I was looking for. And why I have loaded too much on the palette is that I'm going to load this as much as possible also on the body of the canvas. Yes. So I am ready with the gold. Let's go. So the lighter portions, what I'm going to do is that I'm not going to paint. I'm going to just drop off this lighter gold in all those sections. Slow and steady dropping off the paint, meaning, yes, we have seen that logic. I'm bringing the camera too close. So you see how the drop goes in here. How does it go in here? Yeah. Can you see that? It's getting loaded. The body of it is taking more than the usually painted way. So the risk is it might fall off, and that's exactly why we do not add oil at all. So we're doing this, we're giving this impression because there's a lot of designs that go inside such artwork. If you are working on total level, what do you call the hyper realistic detail, then you will be doing all such, it's just like jewelry making. If I have to summarize, in a one short note, I should have told you that first. It's like jewelry making. You are going to work on every single aspect of the jewelry and design every single aspect of the jewelry. So that's how tedious it could get. But we do not want to go into that level of tediousness. And that's exactly why I am loading the paint in a way that it looks like, yeah, there is gold loaded. Yeah. And because of the titanium white mix, it's lightened up. It is not so bright. And remember, the edges that we had, it never had those small little dots and curves. We never did that. So we are going to do that now. So slow and steady, you want to give that impression of gold. If that is getting in the way of the colors that you have already made, it's okay. We are going to work on those colors as well. So in a short while, so don't worry about that. Create as many impressions as possible, then we can work on those colors a short while from now. Yeah. So I'm working on the lighter space and I have taken the lighter color only, isn't it? And I'm going in between those green or red, whatever color blocks. Do you see the difference already? If you look at the way Radha's jewelry looks, and suddenly the crown itself is now on a shiny side, yeah. And it might look like peach to you on camera, and you'll be looking like you're adding peach color there. But this gold mixed with titanium gives that peach color range, close to peach color. But then, like I said, when it dries, it starts shining. It gives another whole dimension to it. Okay, I think I accidentally pulled off a little bit unwanted. I'm just taking it out. All right, so I think that is taken care of here. So the lighter color is going on also in the earring. The lighter gold goes on in the earring as well. Alright, I'm going to do the lighter color also in the jewelry that he is wearing on the necklaces. But remember, it's only on the middle portion of the necklaces, because once it goes close to the neck, yes, it is dark, so I will use the darker tonality. Create that small little bumps, because jewelry is never never looking like definitely never looking like a iron ring. Right now what we have done, of course we did it because just we were doing the layers. It looks like an iron ring around the neck, but it isn't. So let's give that effect of jewelry there. Yes, it is getting bright. And yeah, gold has its tendency to go even brighter in some places. We don't want it to be totally bright. Also, we want Krishna and Radha's face to shine as well. So just be aware of that. If you have gotten gold, and don't go overboard. The tendency is that it looks I want to do a little more, but like I said, that's one color that looks like it's less, but in a couple of days, once it dries, you'll say maybe I used a little more. It is too much. So just wait on it for a while if you are doing it for the first time, until you understand the dynamics of this color. All right, that's it here. We are coming close to the finish of the necklace with respect to the lighter color tone. So what we are missing right now is the darker color tone. So can we move right now? I'm just taking this away, wiping off the excess. I'm wiping this with my tissue paper, going back to the burnt umber mixed darker gold, and I want to use it again in those spaces that I haven't touched base with right now. This really looks on a goldy side, yeah, but it is dark. Just go over that, and even if you want to give a darker layer, you can use this gold to go over the sides as well. Tiny, image impressions to give that effect. So you're using the darker gold to do the layers, and I'm just going in between the sections in some places where I think it could be helpful to show the gold in dark tonalities. So I'm just going over them. Yeah. and the sides of it that I haven't done. Now I'm working on it. The ornament on his ear. So yeah, the primary colors that we used, the vermilion and earth green, are all getting just smudged inside because I am putting loads of color here, but we will just go and refine that in a short while. So if we hadn't done that, it would have been in a way it looks like easier because we load the gold color and then start working on it. But any which ways, it's all in a way similar. It is going to consume time any which ways, I think. Yeah. So I have put that here. And let's do gold on his ears as well. Give that earring the dark touch as well in some places. Done. The ear ornament is taken care of. And there is usually another ornament that is falling off his crown from the other side, which I don't see in these references. There is one here. This one. It's just pearls. So I would like to get it started because I never did it. I'm going to just get it started here. And when we do the titanium white, we can add the pearls here. Yeah? I'm just doing it looks like a small little, bunch, and then 3 strings of pearls falling down. So I think that is easy to work. So we will just create that. See, a last minute adjustment is going on. It is never done. It's never done. With all these paintings, it's So I'm going in between those sections, the lighter sections, and doing the slightly darker notes, just like the way we highlighted in some places. I'm doing them. Okay, he looks glamorous now, doesn't he? Good. Let's do the space in between with the darker. We did draw some lines so we know these exist, huh? Okay. Yes, I think we managed the jewelry on his head and also earrings and neck. I'm just going to imagine that the string that we are going to do, the end of it is also having gold, and I'm just going to do 3 golden dots. So I will try to bring those strings down to this golden dots. Yeah. So it fits well there. So it's just a idea that I have right now. So I'm going to work on the jewelry in his arms. So that's a little close by. So I'm going to move there. Yes. Right. And these, again, they have lighter tonalities and darker tonalities. The darker ones are in the middle. So I'm just, because I have the dark ones right here, I'm just going to do that. Go around. It's not coming out as in out of the body of the canvas. I'm just pulling it, loading the brush and pulling it. So I'm going to do the same thing on the armband as well. Good. So I think I will have to wipe off this to move into the lighter color. Yes. Taking the lighter tonality. Where is it going? It's in between these pearls that we built. These are the lighter parts of the gold. Yeah. And create that impression that it's coming out of the body line. So it's giving that dimensional impact. Let's do the same on this jewelry on his wrist as well. Okay. I think we managed fine here. Needs a bit of the darker color as well. Both of them. So I'm wiping again to go right in the corners. I want a trace of the darker tonality here. And the same thing goes on the top here. Just looking at the space where the shadow is. And we did do a lot of, shading and giving in the depth in the layer 4 that's helping us figure out where to go with the light, where to go with the dark, and so on. Yes. So we are now moving on to this side. So let's work on Radha's jewelry and then move to the hand jewelry also, then come to the hip and the foot. That way it's easier to move around. Yes, let's do that. Look at him. Look at the difference here. So right now I am having the darker tonality. So I'm just going to use that to fill in the side of our jewelry. The sides are the ones with the darker gold. Right now it is one by one. It is a bit tiring. But guess what? Yes, stay hydrated, have something to drink, and I do have it right there. Yes, I will take a break shortly. Yes, and keep the patience It is looking like you're scaling through millimeter of every single millimeter of the canvas, but that's how it is. And just imagine we are not doing hyperrealism. It's not even hyperrealism. And if we were to do that, then the whole approach is different. Not going to put dots like these. It will be slightly more tedious on the other hand. So, but still, this is a fantastic choice that we have made, isn't it? To work on. So it's only the darker portion, so nothing is visible, highlighted yet. Can we shift to the lighter portion? Just before that, a little bit on the darker portion I can see here. On the earring, we can use, and also the necklace has a bit of the dark here. Good. Fantastic. I think the darker portions are done, nearly there, nearly there. The moment I say it's done, I see another spot. Yes, it's this, the middle of the forehead. Yeah. I think I am done with that now. Now I'm going to wipe off the brush and move to. So I've not switched brushes. I'm using the same zero brush and I am moving to the lighter gold that I mixed. The gold that I bought itself, says that it's lighter gold. Yeah, but I have lightened it even a bit, a tad bit, adding titanium white to it. So I'm just going to fill this because I can do, I can load other colors onto it. So we will not be painting, we'll be loading colors. That's a difference. So go in between that white spots also if you can. If it's a bit too much, fine, I understand, but try your best to do filling it by loading it. That's the key here. Yes. On her earring, half of the earring is dark because it's on the side, and the front half of the earring is on the lighter side. So that's what I'm doing here. And the crown also has a bit that is light behind, it's catching light behind. Whatever you're doing, whatever detail you're doing, just that keep that logic going. Where is dark, where is light? Then it gets a bit easier. I'm working on the neck piece right now. The same thing that I'm trying to do there, it is having slight bulges here and there, and it doesn't look like an iron ring on her neck. I think that's done fairly well. This one is totally on the dark side. I think it's her hand that is creating the shadow on his arm. That's why I would say this is totally, what do you call, a darker gold that I will use. I will use the lighter gold here on some parts of her jewelry though, that I feel could be slightly lighter. And even this is shadowed by so many things out there. So some parts of it is lighter, but not all. So we could go ahead and use the darker tonality right away. Okay, so I move on to give that darker spirit here on her jewelry first. And then on his. Adding a bit more gold on the edges. I think it looks fair enough right now. The effect is okay. Right now, we move back to the center portion. Luckily, we did gold upload here, so I am not going to worry about that. We will come back to this part when we work on the color details. But let's just do the darker tonality gold. Uploading here. It's uploading, yeah? It's loading. You upload or you load, whatever you do, load as much as needed here on this part, which is dark. The sides are dark. They are shadowed. So keep that in mind. The sides are dark. The edge that is close, sorry, close to the hip line is dark. This is dark. Those circle lines, that bends that we made, divisions that we made, or any designs or patterns that you would have made, you want to show it as dark, you can. That is fair enough. Take the lighter gold. And do the lighter gold circles inside. In the places that you might have left, yeah, because you wanted to have the lighter gold there. For me, this doesn't take too much of light gold in a way, because it's really on the darker end. Most of it is. I'm going to take this lighter gold and use it on her hip band, yeah, especially in the center. These sections where the light could be falling more on, yeah. And here I think the chances are less and less. So we do little of it, giving it suggestive impression, but not too much. It's already loaded, so you cannot load more, but you can just, do as much as it goes inside there. So we have managed that as well with a lighter gold. So we wipe off and we are getting ready for the gold on the foot area jewelry. Yes. And this shows where we are. Okay, we have some, I think we don't have much of lighter gold work to do. I will use it in between here, and I'm moving the camera here. Yes. So I'm using it in between the dots ever so lightly. I don't see much of use to it because this is also a section where you see less of light there. Also on the jewelry in the other feet, less and less of that. So I guess we will use more of the darker I think it will be more on the darker side because there is more shadow, the less of light falling there. Let's do the darker one right away. Giving the tiny, tiny edge. Also, no, do not make it look like that is iron ring. There is the like an iron bar or something. It has some curves. Usually, the traditional jewelry has some curves to it. So just do that when you fill it in. Tiny, tiny curves. We are nearly there with the gold loading on the jewelry here. So I guess this is it. So we are ready to work on colors as well. But before that, since we are using the gold, we should finish off the usage of gold as much as possible in this session. Okay, so let's take a look at the gold usage overall. I think we have managed all the sections. And the hip, the hands, and the foot. Yes, fair enough. So we are going to use this gold also on the clothing. Remember, we did only the silk filling, yeah? So we are going to use that darker gold that we made in some of the sections. I'm going to show you one of them as a sample here. So this section is just, this is the one that is hiding behind the garland. So this is going to be slightly darker. And when you fill it now, maybe it's still not dry, you'll feel like, okay, it doesn't really make any difference to me. It looks the same. But like I said, with gold, you will be able to see more of the change only in a couple of days. The colors, the change, the difference appears. So some of it maybe you are able to see right away, but some of it, no, I think it takes a while. So I'm loading the gold on the sari rim area, and also those folds that we might have had to create that effect of the fold there. So okay, so we are going to, just like the way we did it, we are going to add those darker tonalities in the silk. So I'm going to take a little more of the gold, add it to burnt umber. Keep it ready. So I'm able to create slight traces of shadow with that burnt umber mixed gold. So that is darker gold that we have done also on the jewelry. So we know that we're going to give that effect. If you want to give the lighter gold effect also, that is a good idea. I'm just giving it ever so lightly in, because even the clothing borders, you will see that they have patterns. So I'm working on the one of the sections to show you how things are here, and I'm going to move. I'm doing it in the hip area. So here where you see Krishna's clothing, I'm doing that. This part of the clothing also needs that bit of touch, so it looks like silk cloth. Ever so lightly, so I'm adding that. And this tonality here. If you want to add, you can also add the lighter tonalities to see the difference, how that works. So I'm just adding it here. The way you load the brush and lift it up, it creates that impression there. Yes. And I'm using the gold also in there. So I'm going from bottom to up. So let's do the bottom section. On Krishna's clothing, the rims where the darker tonalities are, I'm just creating them. The folds in her dress, in her skirt. These are sections we already know because we have highlighted them in the previous layer. So it's only going to help add on, give that impression, that shade and the perfection. Yeah. It's going to highlight and make things look even, stronger at the, if you are with the gold, it's also a tendency that you are getting confused how it looks. The simple way to check is to just step out of it and look at it from a distance. You will say a slight change, even though the colors aren't so brightly visible right away. You will still be able to see that. So I have added the darker tonalities there. The lighter tonalities, we already have lightened. You might need it, you might not need it. I think it's up to you. I will use it in some of the places. I'll show you where. I want the skirts to look, I don't want it to look so perfect circle there. So the edges to look like there is something there. So I'm just building on the edges of her skirt like this. A stronger tonality here on the edges of her skirt. So you see that it is the contours that I had built when we worked on the blue color background. Those are the spaces that I'm using now effectively to build that, we call it jari. Jarigai in Tamil, jari work or something like that. It's the silk work. So I'm just creating that silk work because if you have touched that silk, you will see that it's brittle. It's not soft. It's not too soft. Yeah. So I'm building that here on her skirt totally. Because I want it to be light, so I'm just gonna come back with a lighter tonality in some of the places, but I'm just finishing it up here. Yeah. I think most of her silk is it's talking, so it's really good. I'm going to use a bit of that silky thing to add on the clothing as well. To if it is shining, it will be shining in all directions. So I'm just using that a part of it and blending it with the crimson. If it goes, it will. Even if it is dry, the gold just blends in. So it looks shiny in some places to add, so it's good idea to just add that gold there in her clothing ever so lightly. Blend that in. If it is too much, blend it in. Yeah, so you want to give that effect. You don't want that gold to overpower in many sections because it's again you have made some patterns. The patterns need to be highlighted, so give it a balance of where you want to show it in the skirt. Blend it in nicely. Then you will get the feeling that the whole cloth is slightly turning on the silky side. Be very careful if you have used too much of yellow ochre, burnt umber, and this crimson isn't that dry, that color changes. So wipe off frequently. Okay, got the paper. Let's look at the time. How are we doing? I think we are coming close to the completion here with the silk and the cloth. I'm taking the lighter white to do a bit more of the shadows or grids or shades in some of the places to help that highlight come over faster. So we know the spaces very well, so it's easier to fill in to give that effect there, and it's going to shine out nicely in those places. Yeah. Okay. I think I am done with her skirt area. I'm going to move around to work on the gold here on his. Moving slightly up here near the hip area. Right now I'm on the close to the foot of Krishna here, and I'm taking a bit of this lighter gold, giving it. I don't want to give the total dip, in all places, totally obvious. Only in some places suggestively to give that highlight of total shine, yeah? So I've done that here, and now I go up close to her, the part of the sari that is just jumping around like that. That is totally nice. It's totally light, and I want to use that rim also to look like, that brittle kind of look. I don't want that, it looks like a C curve or so, something like that. I want it to be slightly on the brittle side, so I'm just giving it that finish there. Yes, I think this looks okay here. And I will do the lighter shade on a little bit on her shoulder line, the clothing that she is wearing. I think I need a little bit of the darker shade also right away for her. Ever so light, adding the darker shade here. We don't want it to look too obvious here. Adding that rim here on the silk saree, yeah. Yes, I think this looks good enough on her clothing. Let's look at his. Can we do that darker rim here on the edges? Yeah, I'm going to bring the picture down. Okay. So the cloth has this nice rim, yeah? Let's bring it down here also. Okay, so it's a finesse, but it does make a difference. I'm going to give a gold streak somewhere in between to give that, finish on the cloth, give that effect that it could be silk. This is where, it really helps to add that gold in his clothing as well. But just be careful, it's primary yellow that we have used dominatingly. So we don't want to add too much to that. I am going to take brush number 2 with primary gold. Sorry, the gold. Maybe I haven't mixed much with, yeah, it's mixed a little bit with the burnt umber, but I'm going to go give that silk touch on his cloth also. So this rim area where we had this, where we had this cadmium orange circles and so on going. I think these sections that are darker, we can use it to give that silk effect. Yeah. So I will use that section as well. So it's still giving that silk effect. Yeah. So some of them shine, and I don't want to give too much because the primary yellow will catch on to it. So I'm just using a tad bit of it and going around using the gold there. I think it is enough. Just Slight touch on the lines, suggestively. You can do it with zero brush also. All right, so we managed fine with the gold today. Today's session was all about gold. We have used gold as part of light and dark shades in the jewellery where we loaded. And we also have used gold as a part of the silk and the cloth in some places where it wasn't the same load, but we did suggestively do something to that as well. So we have learned a lot in this session regarding that. And I hope you found it interesting. The next session will be on the ornaments itself, because we are not done fully with the ornaments. What we have done is gold loading, and what had it done, all those colors that we have given before have smudged or gone here and there. So even though we might not use gold, keep it ready for the next session as well if you have a little bit. It takes a while to dry, so yeah, you can continue on doing the next class also together, or or in the next day as well if you feel it's too much in a day. But the gold will not usually doesn't get dry. If it is a gold, it doesn't get dry. When it is burnt umber mixed, the burnt umber part might get slightly drier. Otherwise, it's okay. We might need it because we might, if we go wrong here and there with the colors, then we will have to readjust. So just a little bit will do for the next class. Otherwise, we are done for today's class. Yeah. And let's see how far we go with the gold work. I think we'll be able to finish it, finish the jewelry part in the next class, and possibly get started with a few other things as well. Yeah. Thank you very much. Remember to share your comments, your feedback, your queries, concerns to support at theglazestudio.dk. Share your pictures as well. And if you need any specific guideline, write to me first and let's see if we are able to answer the questions. Otherwise, if you feel that a video call will help, we will try to have a Zoom or a Teams call as well to help you on a personal level. Thank you very much. Keep safe. Stay blessed. See you in the next class. Bye bye.